This is Moments with Foo with James Foo Torres, better known as Foo, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant people on the planet, hear their stories, and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. Moments with Foo is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board and your host, Foo.
Hello and welcome to Moments with Foo. I'm your host, James Foo Torres, or you can call me Foo, hence the name of the podcast. And today I have Gianna Gaudini. She is the head of events at Airtable, author of The Art of Event Planning, and the creator of the $1 Million Event Planning Career. And I'm going to let her tell you more about that. But first, Gianna, how are you?
Great. Oh, excuse me. I'm great. You wouldn't know it from my voice, but thanks for having me, James. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's funny because we were just, before recording, you were fine. And then it happens that when you're going to talk, right, that first time.
Happens to the best of us. Good thing I've got my water right here. So.
Right. It's so funny because, everything was fine and suddenly when we start. But, we're all human. So that's proof there. So let's kick it off with a quick introduction about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Gianna. I have been in the event planning industry for over 20 years as, a thought leader. I've been on both the agency side and the client side for major brands like Google, where I ran events for 9 years, Amazon, SoftBank Vision Fund, the largest VC in the world, $100 billion fund. And now I'm at Airtable. $11.5 billion startup in quotes.
Right.
So building out their event go-to-market strategy from the ground up. But in addition to that, I've kind of built a brand in the event space, both with my Amazon bestseller, The Art of Event Planning, which I published in 2019, right before the pandemic, and then post-pandemic, the launch of my course, $1 Million Event Planning Career, which I launched in January this past year. So it's become a platform that's been awesome for engaging the events community and the hospitality community and really anyone that plans events, which is pretty much anyone. When you think about it, we're all event planners. Who hasn't planned a kid's birthday party? Or I just planned my dad's 70th surprise birthday this past weekend. From weddings to bar mitzvahs to auctions, events are just kind of part of what it means to be humans and congregate. So really, I built a platform to engage anybody, from beginners to pros.
That's really cool. That's why, when I connected and you told me all these different things, I was like, I definitely want to have you in my podcast because events, like you said, it's just part of the human experience. Is actually, in my opinion, one of the best parts of the human experience, because one of my best memories are just being on a mastermind with friends where we're learning and building very lifelong relationships that then we're learning about business and how to take our business and ourselves to the next level. But also then we go and we're in yachts and in jet skis and having that bonding to solidify everything, because life is more than just work and business, and that's why I love events, because it's the combination of business and pleasure together, and getting to know new people in the best way, which is in person. So I love events, and that's why I'm looking forward to learn from your course and to learn from you too, and hopefully you'll do some cool things together.
Yeah, I mean, events are good for so many different reasons, from building trust with with community members and or clients and customers if you're a business, to training and sharing new product features, to fundraising, to celebrating. And there's just so many ways that events can be a part of one's strategy in life and in business. So it's a really fun career, and one that you can evolve literally every year, which is why I got into event planning in the first place and have continued to grow and expand my career for the past 20 years and hopefully the next 20 years to come.
That's amazing. I I always say to people when I talk about my goals moving forward in business, a big part of it is events. I want to have my own event, minimum one a year, if not like once a quarter, and be able to travel and create a space where people come and network and learn and have life-changing experiences. That's the idea of what I want to do. I want to combine it with NFTs and being able to have that like receipt of the event to, you know, great branding, great way to, that's where social media and everything is going. So I'm already thinking with that in the back of my head, and I'm very excited about that and having the opportunity to have you. So my next question is, you know, given that your events is so, you know, so broad in a way, is there any specific focus that you personally are doing right now, that you're trying to push more, or you kind of keep your options open?
So, you know, my full-time job is in the corporate world, and that's at Airtable, where I am the head of events. So I am in such a unique position that I'm honored to be in, where I'm building the event team and strategy for Airtable from the ground up. So Airtable had never done an event before in their 10 years of being incorporated until I joined the company in March. And so I was tasked with the role of like deciding what our event strategy was going to be, getting buy-in from the company on what the goals were, the format, you know, the audience acquisition plan, the budget, and then galvanizing a large cross-functional team to bring our very first Airtable event to fruition. And we had press there. You know, we were doing a live interview with Bloomberg and our CEO from the event. We had all of our executives on stage for the very first time. We had incredible customer speakers from Netflix and LinkedIn and iHeartMedia and Adobe. And it was just an incredible moment for the company to have our product launch on stage for the very first time. You know, before this event that we produced, the product launches kind of happen digitally, which is great. But when you actually see products being launched on stage to an audience that's responding, there's just this, you know, this
Energy,
excitement
right?
and this energy. And yeah, and, you know, the press want to write about it. The analysts can really see it tangibly. And you're building those relationships. I like to call it making brand deposits with your customers, with press, with strategic partners. And so it was a really cool thing to be a part of. Now, aside from my day job, I think what's also really important when you're a leader in an industry is to give back to the community. So I try to take time to be a thought leader, to do podcasts like this, to blog, to take interviews, you know, to mentor other people in the industry, to attend other events. I think it's really important to do your competitive analysis and just go be an attendee as well, to learn what the trends are, what's working, what's not working, to network with other professionals. You know, and one of the things that I do a lot is teaching. It's one of my favorite things to do. In fact, it was my first job in high school. I taught piano. And so when I created my course, it was because I had so much success with my book and heard so much feedback from people that I wanted to create kind of a follow-on to that in a more engaging format where people could learn even more in a more engaging, self-paced format. So, you know, I spend a lot of time making sure that I'm getting the word out about my course and helping people make career changes or leverage the learnings from my course to get promoted, to reach that next level, to learn something that they want to learn about. And then finally, one thing that I'm passionate about is advising. So having been in the event space for 20 years, yeah, I have a lot of contacts, a lot of experience. I kind of have my finger on the pulse of what the trends are, what the future of events is. And so I'm an advisor to a few startups in the event tech space as well. And so I'm very passionate about supporting them, making strategic introductions to them, helping review their roadmap. And then of course, being a mom to a 5-year-old keeps me all very busy.
Yeah, that's always a big focus, right? Having a 5-year-old, right? I don't know by experience, but by experience, I guess from other people having kids, right, in my family and friends. But
It's a full-time job in and of itself, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's why I'm definitely not ready for it, and I don't know. I'm so focused right now. My baby is my career, right? Like, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still young. I mean, 29, and I don't know. I'm just focused on living up to my potential and to really take care of myself first, to then being able to take care of others. So
Hey, that's why I'm only having one kid, is because my career is my second kid. I tell people I know my limits, and I know that I like to invest in my career, and I only have a certain amount of hours and capacity to give 100%. So, there's trade-offs in life, and I know my limit is one kid. So,
yeah, and that's good. That's good. Given that you were saying that you love advising, I would love for you to give some advice for either business owners in general, or maybe more specifically for tech startups. That seems to be a big focus for you. So there's so many of them, and I normally work with tech companies too. So I think it will be great to hear your advice for event planning for people, maybe their first one, or to do a better one because they didn't do very well in the beginning. What's your advice for that?
yeah, oh gosh, there's so much advice. Where to start? I mean, you always want to think of a 5-year plan. Just because something is working this year doesn't mean it has the runway to last. So you really want to be getting ahead of trends and growth patterns, and making sure you have enough runway to grow, and, to weather difficult macroeconomic climates like now, or pandemics, or changes to the market. And also expect that it takes time to build up your business. So expect at least 5 years to really build. And, you're going to need to build your credibility. You need to build your connections. You need to be networking. You're creating your own success and serendipity by getting out there. And one of the best ways to do that is to contribute to the community as well. Be a thought leader, be networking, doing things like what you're doing, James, with having this podcast. The more you're networking and giving back, honestly, you're making deposits, and you're going to get more traction. You're going to get more intel, but also just investing in training yourself and upskilling yourself. I mean, that was one of the reasons why I created my course, is because I was currently running global events in training and certification at Amazon Web Services. And that was one thing that everybody was investing in. Companies were investing in training their workforces so that they were more versed in AWS cloud skills. And engineers and cloud architects wanted to get AWS certified, so companies would hire them, because if they were AWS certified, it was an indication that they could build on AWS platforms. And so, getting certifications, just continuing to grow your skill set, adding to your toolkit is really, really smart. I think anybody who says that they know it all definitely does not know it all, because you can always be growing, always be learning, no matter how long you've been in a career. So, to give you an example, when I was getting ready to write my book, I wasn't just sitting down and writing for 4 hours a day, but I was also building a website and starting an email campaign and gathering names for that, and starting to do a lot more media. And, there's just so much that goes into building leading up to a launch, and then maintaining it after a launch. That's one of the hardest things about being a business owner, is not just running the business, but keeping the marketing going, keeping a flywheel going, and, operationalizing things so that you can scale as a business as well. So
So
those are just a few things, but yeah,
on that
sorry.
note, still, is there any, at least, obviously ballpark, because I know there's a lot of components, but mid if I want to have, like, what is the minimum viable product that you need to have to be able to do your first event? If that's even something that you can answer, because
Oh yeah. It's hard to answer that, because events are, like, are you talking about a product launch event, or like, there's so
I
many types of
mean,
events?
so yeah, I guess there's so many types of events, right? Like, for what I mean, I usually think about events about like a conference, for example, right? Like, that's like a huge event, right? um uh, is that even
No.
like the first thing that you should prioritize? Or I guess that would be a better question. Like, what should be the, is it launching then should be the priority then? And what's the minimum viable product to launch, to do an event for a launch?
Great question. So to pull off a conference is a huge lift, and you want to consider a lot of things before making that commitment, because once you set a date, it's very much set in stone. It's very hard to change a date without looking like you're a little bit of a rookie. And so first of all, understand exactly what your why is. Why are you having the event? Is it brand awareness? Is it top of funnel? Is it to build trust? Is it expansion within your current customers? Do you want press? Do you want social reach? Like, what is it that you want from this event? And you want to start out with some OKRs. And for those that don't know what OKRs are, they're objectives and key results. So what are the objectives, and how are you going to measure them? So the key results should be measurable. And they can be, some quantitative, some qualitative. Like, for instance, you might want an NPS score of 70 or above, and that's helping with, evangelism of your brand. Others can be qualitative, like pipeline generated or sales closed, meetings scheduled, et cetera, et cetera. So you want to start with that, and then kind of assess whether an event is the right marketing medium that you want to invest in, because you want to analyze how much it's going to cost, if you're going to charge a fee or not. Do you want to become ROI neutral? And what I mean by that is, if it's an event that's going to result in potential sales or pipeline, like, is the investment worth what you think you're going to get out of it? And if not, like, are you willing to, take a loss? Then you also want to look at the resources that you're investing from a time perspective. Events take a lot of time, and typically more than one team member to pull off. So especially, my position right now, working at a startup, we have such finite resources. We're not a big Google or a big Amazon with, 1 million employees, literally, and Amazon. And so we really have to evaluate trade-offs with every initiative that we're doing. Like, is this one stack ranked higher than this one? And how is the team resourced to support each initiative? So that's kind of the first steps when it comes to planning an event. And then there's so much more. I mean, my course and my book walk you through a lot of it, but know your why and how to prove the value of the event before you even get into like the logistics piece.
I really love that part. It really resonated with me because it's in my realm, right? Of PR too. It's everything. When I do PR, I ask people like, what is your purpose? Do you want authority? Do you want sales? Do you want to tap into the right communities? Or what does success look for you, right? Like, what do you want to get out of this? And an event, it's very similar. I mean, it is PR, right? Like, event,
yeah.
it is PR, it is marketing, it is everything. Right?
Yeah, when you think about it, events are so stressful because by nature they're public facing, right? Like, it's not like something that you're doing at a company where maybe you're launching a product or some code or some internal process where maybe, like, if you make a mistake, no one's going to see it. Like, events are front and center for your brand. And so that's why they're inherently stressful, is like, they're out there. The date's not moving. People, top customers are invited, press are invited, your executives are participating. So, you really want to be buttoned up and, know your why and know how to achieve results before you embark. Not to scare anyone, but they're very fun and rewarding as well.
Yeah, but obviously you don't want to just wing it, right? Like, you don't want to just go for it and that's it.
No.
But it's cool that you really gave some very good information. And obviously, if they want more, there's always going to be the course. I know I'm going to be taking the course. So I'm looking forward to that, because I really, really want to become basically be able to do my own events and organize events for other people. So in a way, an event planner, because it's just it's such a great part of PR, and I love it personally. So I'm very personally invested. So I know that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be thinking that this is great information. This is something that I would love to get into, or even to just get more information about my company, for my company. So how can people find you?
Great question. It's pretty easy. You can go to my website, giannagaudini.com. So GIANNAGAUDINI.com/course. And if you go to the shopping cart and enter FOO, FOO, you can get a VIP discount for unlimited time. So maybe you can drop that into the show notes. But you can find all the information that you want about me, my course, my book, my philosophy, all on my website. So it's pretty easy if you can get all the vowels right in my name.
Yeah. I mean, and to be safe, this in the show notes that we're gonna have the links, but there's some people that are just listening to it, so it's good to at least for them to make a mental note, right? To be able to check that out, and maybe they remember, hopefully, to. And thanks for not only coming here, taking the time and give us amazing information, have a great conversation with me, but also being able to offer something of value for the audience, and giving them a code for coming into for, if they watch this podcast, being able to have a discount for your course, which I think is gonna be amazing. I mean, I haven't got to it because life is crazy, but I have it in my to-do list, and it's for events is such a big priority that right now I'm just making sure that I build up the team so I can gain more time. So then I can go. I have 2 courses right now that I want to prioritize, which is the event one, and then one for content from a content creator friend of mine that I saw him blow up. So those are the 2 main priorities, because content and publicity strategies is what I'm focusing on right now for myself and my clients. So event, it's just one of the most powerful PR things in publicity, and attracting the media with that, so much, so easy when you do an event, right? So looking forward to that. I'll probably be like, after I go through your course, if I have questions, and maybe hopefully collaborate and do a nice maybe multiple events, hopefully, right? That would be with tech startups and getting to Web3. That would be amazing.
Cool. Well, good luck with all of that, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too. And this was a great conversation. So this was Gianna and Fu, and this is us signing off.
Thanks for listening to Moments with Fu with your host, Fu. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we will see you on the next episode.